Hi everyone, Dave here, Fit and Healthy Forever. I just want to do a video today on how you could measure your insulin resistance. Now, insulin resistance is a sort of like a precursor to type 2 diabetes. Normally you'd go for a blood test, but from the research I've done, there's a couple of doctors in America that use this, holistic doctors, and they say it's very, very accurate. Probably not as accurate as a blood test, but if you wanted to give yourself an idea of whether you are insulin resistant or closing in on, shall we say, being pre-diabetic or diabetic, this would be a good way to do it. First of all, what is insulin resistance? Now, it's a pathological condition in which your cells fail to respond normally to the hormone insulin. Now, when the body produces insulin, under conditions of insulin resistance, the cells are resistant to the insulin, which means the insulin is like a key that opens the door to the cell and allows the glucose in to do its job. Your pancreas is pumping out insulin, and it's not opening the door to let the glucose in. So your pancreas is getting signals that they need more insulin, so it keeps pumping more out and it's not being used effectively. So this means the cells, despite the presence of insulin in the blood, don't become unlocked and don't let enough of the glucose that's in the blood get into the cells. Now, it is reversible, and this is type 2 diabetes I'm talking about that it leads to. Type 1's a total different ball game. So it is reversible, but you must address the cause. And for me, I've said this time and time again, giving you a tablet doesn't address the cause, it masks the symptoms. So what causes insulin resistance? It's caused by genetics and lifestyle factors. Now, genetics play a very, very, very small part. In a nutshell, our genetics haven't changed in 40,000 years, but you're always going to get an anomaly where certain people's genetics play a big part in some of the diseases they've got. But it certainly isn't the majority, from my understanding. So lifestyle factors plays a massive part. It precedes type 2 diabetes. People with insulin resistance have cells in their body that don't use insulin effectively, and this can cause a build-up of sugar in the blood. Now, this happens over many, many, many years for most people. It's what they call an inflammatory lifestyle. It's eating processed foods, it's eating things like takeaways and pizzas and McDonald's, and smoking and drinking and not getting the rest and recovery and being very inactive. All those things combined over a series of years is going to cause this. And I think you'll find now type 2 diabetes, or diabetes itself, is something like the third biggest killer in the Western world now. It's massive anyway. It's an epidemic proportion. So, what foods can you eat to help insulin resistance? Limit carbs for a start. I've said this in previous videos. Your carbs, all they do, carbohydrates, are just an energy source. End of. They don't do anything else. So if you're ingesting a lot of carbs, and your body can't use them to store in the cells, the muscles, the liver, then they will be stored as fat. I've said it time and time again, that is fact. So if you're going to eat carbs, or you're going to eat a lot of carbs, use them strategically around times when you're very active, whether it be a manual job or exercise or whatever it is. Avoid sweetened beverages. Your Coca-Colas, your lemonades, they're full of sugars. They're probably all sugar. Even the diet ones have got sweeteners in that you probably don't want to be putting in your body. So they're not a fantastic alternative. Eat more fibre. I don't think people realise how big a part fibre plays in weight loss and keeping the intestinal tract clear, so that you get proper stools, and it just stops everything from clogging up inside. Eat healthy fats, your coconut oils, your olive oils, avocados, nuts, seeds. There's lots and lots and lots of them. But the Western world's telling everyone to avoid fats at all costs, limit them. completely the wrong way forward. But that's another video. I've touched on it before. Protein. Make sure you eat enough protein in the way of healthy meats. When I say healthy, try and get wherever possible organic, grass-fed. If you can't, get the best that you can afford, and eat dairy the same. With dairy, try and get grass-fed milk and cheese that comes from grass-fed cattle. The hormones and antibiotics and that are in grains that are fed to cattle these days it's astounding. I think if you knew, and I don't know the whole of it, you wouldn't put it in your body. You just wouldn't. And the last thing, well, not the last thing, the last thing I've got on my list is monitor portions. As I say, especially with carbohydrates, the biggest problem with being overweight and obese these days is people are eating a lot of carbs and a lot of fats. When they're getting overweight, they're thinking it's the fats that are causing it, and that's the first thing they need to cut out. Carbohydrates and fats are both a source of energy. Your body will always choose to use carbohydrates first if it's in there, but it doesn't need them above all else. It can run on fats quite easily. In fact, it prefers it. If you're eating both together, this is why you're getting obese, because the amount of calories that can't be used as energy, and those two macronutrients, carbs and fat, most of it's going to be stored as fat. You're better limiting your carbs and getting your healthy fats in. Your healthy fats are involved in all your hormone production, cell production, tons and tons of things. Your brain is something like 30% fat, I think, something down them lines. I've covered that in a previous video. So fat isn't the evil thing that everyone thinks it is, but you must get healthy fats. Eat, like I say, olives or olive oil. Eat avocados, nuts, seeds, fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, things like that. And take an omega-3 fish oil. Now, the way to measure this, and I'm led to believe on good authority that this is quite accurate, not as accurate as a blood test, but close. It's a waist to height ratio. Now, I think you could probably tell with some people without measuring, but a lot of people you couldn't. So what you're looking at, this is always measuring in inches. So you divide your height in inches into your waist size in inches. So make sure with your waist size, you're measuring it around your belly button and in a relaxed state. Don't suck it in, you'll get a false reading. Just stay relaxed. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. For example, a male, well, it's male or female, they're slightly different, but not a whole lot different. So male or female, 6'2" tall with a 36-inch waist. So 6'2" is 74 inches. Divide that into 36, and this would come out at 0.48, which is very healthy. And I'll show you in a minute. So another example, male or female, 5'8" tall with a waist size of 40. So you're dividing 68, which is 5'8". Into 40, which comes out at 0.58, which is extremely overweight. And the last example I've got is someone 5'6" tall with a waist of 42. So you're talking a 66 divided into 42 comes out at 0.63, which is highly obese. Now I've got a table here, if I can just stick down a little bit, and this gives you male and female. They're very slightly different. From there upwards is where your insulin is working normally. They are the measurements that tell you insulin is working normal. Lower down here is where it's not working as normal. So you don't need to do anything with one range, but you do with the other. So if you're looking at from here down, sorry, this is the normal healthy. 0.46 to 0.53 is healthy. With women, it's 0.46 to 0.49, so there's not a lot of difference. In this one, which is slender and healthy, 0.43 to 0.46 in males, 0.42 to 0.46 in females, and extremely thin. I'm not sure whether you would call that healthy or not. You could still be healthy and extremely thin. but it probably won't warrant further investigation. So for women, 0.35 to 0.42, and for men, 0.35 to 0.43. On the other end of the scale, 0.49 to 0.54 in females, 0.53 to 0.58 in males is overweight. If you go to 0.54 to 0.58 in females, 0.58 to 0.63 in males is extremely overweight, and highly obese is 0.58 and above in females, 0.63 and above in males. Now this is the scale that I've been given from a doctor, a holistic doctor in America, chiropractor stroke doctor. He uses this a lot, he dishes it out a lot, and it's just a quick way you can do this at home to see if you are insulin resistant. Just bear in mind, it's not as accurate as a blood test, but it saves you going to the doctors. It gives you an indication, and it gives you a chance to try and do something about it and address the problem. Because as soon as you go to your doctor and he sends you for a blood test and it comes back with one of these unhealthy ranges, they're going to give you a drug medication to combat it, and it's not always necessary. There are times, I've said before, where medication, drugs are necessary to help you along until you get the problem sorted, but you can address these things yourself if you catch them early enough. So have a try, give it a measure, see what you come up with, and if you can't see this table very well on the video when you look at it, message me and I'll put it on my Facebook page so you can see it more clearly. But this will give you an indication and just help you on your way. But it is good to know and catch it early and try and get something done about it. As I've said in the past, I appreciate people who watch these things. I'm just trying to get people to help themselves to be healthier, fitter, and live a healthier lifestyle. It's not difficult, it really isn't. Most people are winging it, and you can't just keep winging it forever. Sooner or later, it's like if you put, for want of a better phrase, if you put shit fuel in your car, it'll run like shit and eventually it'll pack up. You put good fuel in your car, look after it properly, it'll run until it rusts over and collapses. And it's pretty similar with your body. If you put shit fuel in your body, you're going to look and feel like shit. And somewhere down the line, something's got to give. So just bear this in mind. I know people in the 20s and 30s think it's never going to happen. Believe me, you think differently as you get older, especially 35, 40, 45. You start to think and look at things differently. Just give this a go, get in early, try and stop yourself from getting to the point where you're pre-diabetic or diabetic. So thanks everyone who takes the time to listen. Really appreciate you listening in and trying to do something positive with your lives. If you like what I'm putting out, like and subscribe. Tell friends if you think they might be interested. And until the next video, stay fit and healthy forever. Thanks for your time. Bye.